everyone, good morning, good evening, depends on where do you live at this moment. Welcome to the live stream. We will hang out for an hour and a half. I'm gonna read the comments. We'll talk about the motherboard, we will talk about the build. I would like to hear your feedback about the build. The video of the build that we posted a few days ago is doing really well. We are getting a lot of feedback and comments. Thank you very much for watching the video, leaving likes, because if you leave likes, that means that YouTube knows that we are doing good stuff, and I can also tell my boss that we are doing good stuff. So we will do more builds. We've seen some comments about people not liking the build. Let me be honest, I'm also rarely 100% satisfied with the things I do, so I tend to upgrade, or I have wishes that I have done things differently. I can start off by saying what I don't like about this, but we were on a tight schedule because of the launch of the Z690 and the motherboard itself, so that we had to rush some of the things for the build. But maybe this build will be featured on CES as well, either in the EK suite or at the EK booth. That's right, I said EK will probably, most probably 99% have a booth at CES. And this build will be either in the suite or in the booth. What would I liked if it were better? So first off, the cables. I'm gonna peek at the comments now and see if someone... Oh, I need to scroll down. Okay, I need to do squats. Okay, cables. The stock cables which come with the power supply is the first of this kind which I've encountered. I wish I had cable mod cables at hand. That would be much better to have these nice fat cables right here, but we have some cable mod sets which are for 2x8 pin, but this is a Strix 3080 which has 3x8 pin, and we didn't have the sufficient cables at hand, so I'll probably be reaching out to our friends at Cable Mod so that we have nicer cables for the build. Question. I got a question. Can you still delete the CPU using this motherboard and monoblock? I think not. So mostly each motherboard, mostly with each monoblock, deleting the CPU is not recommended. The only monoblock which supported the deleting is the Aorus Extreme Z490, which we did. Because that monoblock was built on the cooling engine of the magnitude, so you had it assembled from multiple parts, meaning that the CPU part could still go up and down a bit and still work, because it was assembled with some barbs. I can check in the shop now. I'm not 100% sure how it was made, but it was, I think it was the most complex motherboard block that we made, which was available for retail. This is the most complex motherboard cooling block which is not available for retail sale. So unfortunately, deleting with monoblocks is not recommended, because the monoblocks are fixed at a height, meaning that I mean, basically you could delete and then sand off a bit of the standoffs from the CPU section so that it drops a bit, but if you want to delete, it's best that you just stick to CPU blocks and you'll be happy. I wanted to say something, you know, I forgot. Right, deleting. As far as I know, deleting is quite hard on the 12th gen. You basically have to put it in an oven and then you have to use the delete tool. I think we were able to watch Roman Derbauer delete his CPU, and you basically have to put it in an oven or have a heat gun and heat it up to 200 degrees or even more, and then you can delete the CPU, and then you have to scrape off the material from the die. I wouldn't do something like that with like a $500-600 CPU. It was much easier in the past where you just put it in a tool, tighten a few blocks. What about Z690 Aorus Extreme? About the Z690 monoblocks, I'm just gonna do a bit here so that I see more of the chat here, so that I don't miss your questions. The Z690 monoblock list will start with the ASUS boards, and then we will move on to the other vendors. The Waterforce Extreme, yeah, we won't make a block for that because it already has a block, but we might make a block for the ordinary Aorus Extreme Z690. This depends on how much time we will have, and we will follow the market and see which motherboards are the most popular, which are the most available, because nowadays unfortunately we have issues with availability as well. So it's not just what was popular a few years back, but we also have to see which motherboards are available. So questions, EK Waterblocks, can I use EK active backplate? Yes, you can. You can use the active backplate on this motherboard. There is enough space on it. Second. So this would be an active backplate for the Strix, and I don't know if the cameraman can catch it, but there is enough space in there so that the active backplate fits. Also, the Vector 2 GPU blocks will be coming out soon. This is something that we showed at EK Expo Computex. So in the summer we showed some renders, but soon enough we will have physical GPU blocks. So the Vector 2, which is an update of the current Vector. Quite a few updates will happen to the GPU block. Also the terminal will be updated for the active backplates, because currently if you have an active backplate you have only two options of how you can route your loop, but with the new backplates you will have more modularity about how you can route your active backplate. Questions? I like to okay. Just looking at the video and trying to coupon code. I guess you will have to stick around till the end and find out if we will get coupon codes, share coupon codes, or give away anything. Let's get back to the wait, how about all of the features? Glacial, yeah, the OLED screen on this motherboard sample is off. It is not working. I don't know why. We don't know why. It should be working, but this motherboard is a early sample, so it's either the board or it's either our block which is faulty. We just didn't have time to disassemble the build and then see what's happening, so we just left it as it is. But if you buy a retail motherboard, of course the screen will work, and it's a 2-inch-ish screen which shows the main parameters of your information about your CPU, GPU, blah blah blah. So there is a screen there. Are the cooling performance better than other water cooling solutions? Very good question. And usually when you have a motherboard cooling solution, that means that your CPU temperatures will be worse if you have just a CPU block. Why is this? This is because the entire block is cooling also the LAN. It is also cooling the VRM. It is also cooling the M.2 drive. So you are cooling more things with one block, and the CPU as well. This means that you're dumping more heat into the loop, and this is why the CPU temperatures will be a bit worse it depends on the loop, it depends on your system, how much worse your CPU temps will be if you are using a monoblock compared to a CPU block. So you need to know what's the most important thing for you. If the CPU temperature is your only concern, then you should go for the Z690 Maximus Extreme, which doesn't have the ultra block. But if you want the ultimate liquid cooling experience, where you can cool the M.2 VRM, actually you can cool 3 M.2s on this. So one is the first slot just below the CPU, and you have 2 more below the GPU. You have flow meters, temperature sensor, leak detection sensors in this block. So it all depends on what's your preference and what you're after. And this PC just locked here because I wasn't touching it enough. 09017. I need some liquid cooling. Oh, Ben's here. Hi, Ben. Always a pleasure to have you. Does passive GPU backplate come with a water block? No. This is something that will also change with the Vector 2 blocks. So I guess all of the competitors are bundling backplates with the GPU block. Usually these backplates are just a laser cut sheet metal. But with the Vector 2, with the Quantum Vector 2 blocks, GPU blocks, we will also be including the backplate in the package, so that you will have a few bundles, preset bundles in the web shop. This would cut down on packaging, so we are more eco-friendly, and also it is just easier to pack everything into one box, and then you don't have to find the screws in the small compartment which is in the case of the backplate. So this is something which will be happening with the new GPU blocks. This means that we will also be bundling GPU blocks with active backplates as well, so that you don't have to buy it separately. You just buy one thing and you get everything included, because with the current active backplates, if you buy the GPU block, then you have to toss away the terminal. But with the Vector 2 blocks, if you buy it bundled, then you just have the one terminal that you need in there, and that's it. Back to the comments. How well? I have no idea how does it line up, because the ports are way up at the top. I haven't checked the Lian Li. I am probably the only person on the planet which hasn't built in the Lian Li 011D or the XL. So if you want me to build something in that case, hit the like button, or just give me the signal and I'll do a build in the PC 011 Dynamic or the XL. So how does it line up? I think it's best that you ask support, and then support will check with our R&D, because our R&D guys have all the 3D models, and they can work out something that will be a feedback for you, like how does it align. And I hope they will also suggest a set of fittings and offsets which would make it work in your case with the Glacial. Questions? Thanks for answering. You're welcome. Sean, Sean, wait, Sean. I don't know. I'm bad at this. Do it. Okay. How much PC like this one? How much would this cost? Okay. Current GPU prices, or okay, GPU. I think it's around $2,000. The GPU alone. Motherboard, again, 2, it's 4K. Power supply, I don't know, it's 6, no, it's less, it's like 300. How much is the ROG Tor 850 watt? I have no idea. The last time I bought hardware was a long time ago. Power supply, let's count it as like 300 cables, 200 more if you want custom cables, not these. And CPU, I think it's 6, so that's we are already around 5K. RAM, I have no idea how much 2 sticks of DDR5 cost. We have a Glacial DDR RAM here straight from the factory. This RAM is so fresh that it doesn't even have the sticker on it which RAM it is. Let's say 400. I think it's more. I think it's around, with all of the liquid cooling, the case is 300. I think it's 7-8K, somewhere around there would be a estimated price for this build. Okay, I know you don't work for ASUS, but do you know when this stock? I know a few shops. Don't lock. Okay, cool. I know about a few shops that list it. I have seen it at LDLC French. It's a French shop. Look them up. LDLC. Is also a Polish shop. I can't remember it, and it's also available on Amazon UK. At least it's listed. When it will stock, I have no idea. Some of the reviewers just got their samples, so I guess that the stock will be starting rolling out a week or two or something like that. Do a build with the Maximus formula, so it's the new Maximus for Maximus Z690, right? White rods are still a little ways out. Should have. Okay, it's Jake. Hi, Jake. Jake needs them. Oh, ASUS is here with us. Thank you, ASUS North America. Thanks for joining in on this live stream. I guess there will be a lot of questions about the motherboard itself, and our friends from ASUS will jump in and help with the questions. While I'm waiting for some, how does a leak detection works? Does it prevent the leak system? So the leak detection, which is on this motherboard, is just a set of rings around the ports, which means that in case that you don't tighten the fittings properly, you will get a small leak there. This would cause a short circuit in these rings, and that would signal a leak. There is no leak detection as a sort that if you get a leak here that the motherboard will know. So the leak detection system works on the motherboard itself. This is just a added security feature, but if you use the standard leak tester before you fill the loop, there's a minimum chance that you will get a leak in your build. Component failure in liquid cooling is really rare. So even if you have to be really unlucky to get a leak, which is a failure of a product. Like I think like 90% of the leaks are, I forgot a plug, I forgot a O-ring, I have pinched on O-ring when I was cleaning my block, I didn't tighten the fittings. Usually when you're doing soft tubing, the soft tubing tends to undo the fitting while you are messing around with the tubing. So these are the ways that you can get leaks most often. LDLC is out of stock. Yeah, so I don't know when the stock will come, but our friends from ASUS are here to help. Let's browse for some questions. But take long. Glacial, carbon. Who said hi? I need to scroll up. God damn it. Oh, EK is here. The official. If you don't want to leak, pressure test first. Of course. So back to the build. I've started moaning about the cables. That's the first thing I didn't like of it, but like I said, we had a time constraint on this build. The second is something that I will probably fix in the near future, is that the radiator is way down. You see this giant hole here. If I haven't read the manual for the case, but if there is a way to remove the front panel so that I can access the screws, so that I can move the radiator up, let me know. But raising the radiator will be one of my top priorities for this build, to make it look a little bit better, because this gap here is annoying me as well. Maybe feedback for ASUS while they're here. The thing I didn't like about the case is that the cable holes on the top are way high, and the cables are quite visible. This might have been better if I had a radiator at the top, but then that would complicate my build, because if I had a radiator at the top, the fans would be lower and the cables wouldn't be so prominent and visible. But a lower set of holes for the cables, I think, would be more welcome. Maybe I could undo the motherboard and tuck the cables behind it. We'll see. I mean, I will see what's possible. But I think that I will be reaching out to Cable Mod for some sleek cables. Back to the questions. Is EK ever going to have copper chrome tubes? Yes, we will. We will have not copper, it's gonna be brass, but we will have metal tubes. We will have nickel. We will have satin titanium. We should have some samples here. So these are just samples, but I'm gonna play around with the cameraman. So we will have satin titanium, pre-bent and also straight tubes, and we will also have the matte black tubes as well, and gold ones at a point as well. These are all confirmed, so we are just waiting for the stock launch December-ish, something like that. Coming soon, TM. Some screws inside to remove. Okay. Screws on the inside to remove the front. Okay. I think I see it. Okay. Good. Thanks. I think I will try. What do you say? You want to give away this beauty? No, Attila, we want to see your PC. When you show us your PC, then we can talk about giveaways. Cool. Are they plastic ones? These are metal ones. So these are brass. These are brass, and I think we don't have any black. No. We had some samples, but I guess it was used. You can check out Joe's build. So Joe did a live stream when he was building the build for PAX. He used the satin titanium tubes for his build. If you go to the EK YouTube channel, you can scroll back a bit, and he has a series of 4 live streams using these tubes. Also, in the video for this build, in the description, you have the complete list of parts used in this build. So if you imagine that you want to have something similar for yourself, you can find the list of parts being used. So maybe you can get some tricks and ideas from this build. Hi Corex, we love you as well. Gorazd is here. Hi Gorazd. Yes, questions. Can I scroll up? Looks epic, thanks. Thanks. Show us cable management in the back. Can I show the cable management in the back? It's not pretty. I'm gonna ask the camera crew if I can move this build around, or if they will be mad at me. Just need some liquid cooling. Okay. It's not pretty. It's heavy. Here you go. Love this feature. So there you have it. It's not pretty, but this actually helps it make look good. Rate it. Is it good enough? Yep, we like the M.2 thingy. The M.2 mounting is very good. Could we expect white EK radiators should be available around CES-ish by the end of the year or early next year? Something like that. So if you are happy with the cable management, I'm gonna flip the case back. Should I put on the back? Yeah. Very awesome feature. How did we have it? It was something like what? Wait, yeah, the front was. It's heavy. Is it good? Okay. Yeah. It's not up to my standard, but good for now. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Yes, it does look bad. Like I said, we didn't invest any time for the back thingy. We just made it work. But yeah, I can make it better. Maybe I'll invest some time and then I'll post some photos and you can judge it again, okay? He'll fix up, yep. Okay, when the DDR5 water cooling will be available? I have no idea when will we have liquid cooling for DDR5. I know that we have drawings, 3D models of the new RAM water blocks, but I have no idea. Oh, hi Andre. Andre is my ex-boss. Love him. Thanks for dropping by. I have learned a lot from him, and you can thank him as well for having me here. MOSFETs, yep. MOSFETs is a question for ASUS. Oh, Attila is back. Do you want a giveaway, right? Did I guess? I mean, I can do the cables now, but you will be bored. What's the difference between classic and quantum? The difference between the classic and quantum is design, price, and also the product line diversity. So while in the classic line you have a simple design for the water blocks, which is doesn't have covers for the terminals, doesn't have special design elements like the stick out at the end of the block. The angles are simple, easier to manufacture, and this is why the cost is lower on the classic. Also, the classic line is limited to only a few GPU blocks, while in the quantum line we try to target more of the high-end GPUs on the market. Also, while classic has only a few fittings and also less color options. The quantum line focuses on diversity, and that you can well, make your build more personalized, if I could say. So the quantum fittings have the option of these accent rings, which you can put on the fitting under the locking ring, and it's available in black, nickel, red, green, blue, purple color as well, so that you can match the build to your desire more. So these are the main differences between the two product lines. Hope I answered. AM4 block candy. Yes, it can. Yes, you can rotate the AM4 block classic just like the Velocity. Yes, you can. Thank you, ASUS North America, for the answer on the VRM. Very good information. Pre-order the Maximus non-glacial. What is the temperature difference? The temperature difference also is dependent on your case as well, how ventilated your case is. Is the chipset liquid flow in series or parallel? It is parallel. So if you go to the EK Glacial landing page, you have more information about the Ultra block itself. There we are highlighting also the high flow tubes, which helped us actually design this cooling solution. Damn it, I wanted to have a block here, but I forgot. It would be nice to show you the block itself, holding it in my hand. So there are two small tubes. I think you can see it in the installation video where I'm installing the pads. There are two flat brass tubes which are connecting the top part with the bottom part of the block in parallel. So yeah. Have you tested temps to see if the single? I haven't tested yet because there was no time to test it, and but we can run some tests later on it to see if this even works, because it's a funky setup, and honestly, like I said in the video of the build, I did this only for the looks, and this is not recommended for like the best optimal performance there is out there. Hi Brandon, I'm very happy that you received a bunch of EK stuff, and feel free to join the EK fan Facebook group. Someone will paste the link to our Facebook group here, so that you can find it and join it, and then you can leave the photos to your build there when you're done. Yes. Does your shop provide full support with choosing components? Yes, you should always reach out to our support to ask for help around choosing your products. If you want to do it alone, we have the custom loop configurator, or CLC. CLC is a program page which will guide you through a few steps, where you choose the case, where you choose the motherboard, GPU, CPU that you have, and then the CLC will guide you through a few steps, helping you to pick, do you want hard tubes, soft tubes, which coolant color you want, and then you will end up with a list of parts which would work for your case without any issues. But if you want something extra, you can reach out to our support, and they will help you pick the right parts. I need some more liquid cooling. Monoblocks for the Hero. Yes, the Z690 Hero will get a monoblock. The Z690 will probably be one of the first Z690 boards which will get a monoblock. I hope I answered your question. Guido. Unfortunately, I'm bad with pronunciations. How many of us are on the live chat? Also, don't be shy. Share the link of the live stream if you want more of your friends to join in. Just share the link, and we'll get this party going on as long as we have questions and action here. Yes, the active backplate will work with this motherboard. It's confirmed. A few minutes back we did a demonstration, but we can do it again. It happened that I have a active backplate here, so if you put it in on the same level there, you can see that there's enough space with under the ultra block so that you can fit the active backplate as well. So if you want the ultimate ROG build, you can go for the active backplate. Also, if you have questions about compatibility, reach out to our support and just ask them, will this work with that? And they are required to provide you with the right answer. The current build is not optimal because I have the radiator parallel with the GPU. That's the only reason why it's not optimal. The second loop, so this small useful distro plate can either run as a combo unit or it can either run as a small distro plate which has 2 in and out ports, so for 2 loops. So the first loop in this case is for the motherboard, and the second loop is for the rest of the loop, so the GPU and the radiator. It would work better if I had the motherboard connected as it is, and if I would go with the other loop in series, so from the GPU to the radiator and then from the radiator back to the GPU. Yeah, so it would actually no, from the distro to the GPU to the radiator, and from the radiator back to the distro. That would be more efficient. Yes. More questions for ASUS about the PWM used on the motherboard. Will the adapter block for the new yes, yes, we will. For the formula, for the previous formula, we had the VRM bridge, which bridged the CPU with the integrated cooling on the motherboard. I think it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be the same concept, that you have something which would bridge the CPU and the integrated VRM on the board as well. So yes, we will have something similar ready, and now because the board is white, I think it looks very good, and making such a cooling solution will be only more exciting for us. So water cooling performance, distro plate, pump, combo, or bay. So performance wise, it's all the same if you are using a combo or a separate reservoir and pump, or a combo or a distro or a bay reservoir. You won't have any performance difference at all. It's the same. There's no performance difference if you are using a small reservoir or a really big one. The only benefits of having a bigger reservoir is that you have more liquid there, so that it takes it a bit longer to heat up, which means that you could have lower temperatures for a small amount of time. And also during filling, you don't have to turn off fill power on, turn off, fill, power on as much times if you had a big one. So you just fill it up once, turn it on, and then you fill it once more and you're done. But with this distro, I had to stop like three or four times until I filled the loop. Hope I answered. It has good features, but it's overpriced. I knew that the price topic will come up as soon as possible, but I really like to compare PC to like cars, because the like ABS system, which is now mandatory on each car, was first used only on sports cars, and thanks to sports cars, someone actually developed ABS, which is now helping all of the mainstream cars on the market to be safer. And I have a same vision about hardware as well, so that you have several products which are moving the frontiers and setting up new standards. So liquid cooled motherboards weren't so frequent a few years back, but just a second. But if you follow the market now, with like each new motherboard chipset launched, you have a few factory liquid cooled motherboards, and the first liquid cooled motherboards just had a big block on it, and that's it. Then came the leak sensors, then came the flow meters integrated in the block, temperature sensors. So these are the products which are moving the boundaries and also moving the industry further. And who knows, maybe in a year, 2 or 4, all of the motherboards will have liquid cooling on it. All of them will have temperature sensors in them, and they will cost much less, because they will become the standard and the norm, just like ABS in cars and similar technologies. I hope that this explanation helps you with the price. It's a stunning piece of hardware, and it's also available in limited quantities, so I guess this also impacts the price. We have our friends from ASUS here, which will also help you find more affordable ASUS boards, which are affordable for you, if I can say. But yeah, is it too expensive for everything that it offers and how special it is? I personally don't think it is, but if it is for you, like I said, the friends from ASUS will help you find a suitable solution for your budget. Get back to the questions. Yep, hello Gambit, and I'm also a huge car person from recently, from a few years back. I love working on my car as much as I love working on my PC, so yeah. Water block for the Apex. I don't think that the Apex will get a special monoblock, but again, if we see a lot of requests for it, we will always do it. Yes, the topic of having the ultra block listed in our shop is also one way of like expressing that we are also proud of what we did, and what we did in the partnership with ASUS, and and the water block listed in the shop means that that the value of the block would be around $1,000 if it was available in retail. Yeah. So this means that all of the features which are of the block, the sensors in it, the integrated screen, the size of the copper which is in it, the amount of machining which would go inside of it, R&D time, and everything combined, our price would be set at something like that. So this is the reason why we have it in the shop. This doesn't mean that we will ever sell the block retail in our shop, and the block is available exclusively only with the ASUS Maximus Z690 Extreme Glacial motherboard. Okay. Yeah, so just like I mentioned right now, the block will never be available in retail. It's exclusively sold with the motherboard itself. Distro plate for Fantex, probably not, because the Fantex N2 Elite is not a new case. So most of the times when we do distro plates or new water blocks, it's always for like recent hardware which is launched. I think the Fantex is like a 5-year-old case or something like that. So no distro for that, but I think that if you want a distro, you can use either this one, which we have here, but also the Fractal distro which we have in our shop, and the other Fantex for the Evolve. You can use both distros in any case there is on the planet. You might be needing to drill some custom holes to fit it in there, but since like GPU height and the things like that are a standard for each motherboard, you can use these distros in any other case. You will just have to find a way to mount it and also work a bit harder with the routing of the tubes, but it is possible. Oh, I have many questions now. Let me... The water block for the Apex Z690, like I said, probably not for the Apex, because the Apex is a overclocking specific motherboard. You can use one of our magnitude CPU blocks with the board. I think it will work fantastically well. Same hardware, major benefit temps. Yeah, it would be nice to compare the liquid cooled and the non-liquid cooled ones, especially on the M.2s, because this block cools all of the onboard M.2 drives. Let's see any of our questions and comments. I wanted to talk more about the build, about the parts which I'm not happy about, but it seems like we have enough questions here so that we can just... Keychain. Yes, I have a ROG keychain, which is I have two ROG keychains actually. I have the one which was in this box, and I'm using it. Yep, I did. Yeah, I'm gonna show it. Not now. No, it's not here. Oh, we are starting to compare the blue team against the red team. This motherboard, same performance. Yes, I guess it's around the same performance. This is actually a custom made, designed cooling engine just for the Glacial itself. Unfortunately, you can't really compare the CPU block to the monoblock itself, Ultra block. I have explained at the start of this live stream that if you have a monoblock or a Ultra block like this, then you're dumping even more heat into the same loop, which means that the CPU temperatures will be worse because you are cooling all of the other things in with the same loop. But if you only have a CPU block, then you will get better CPU temperatures, but you don't have liquid cooling for the rest of the build. What's the coolant that you've used? The best coolant ever. That's the coolant which is inside the build. It's a, shall we say, a RGB specific coolant. It has a specific mixture of clear and white coolant, and also has a bit of UV additives to make the coolant pop a bit more when RGB hits it. And yeah, that's why this coolant allows better dispersion of the light inside the coolant itself. Next question. Anyone know if the dual tube reds will fit leniently? Oh, I have no idea. Dual tube reds? Which dual tube reds? I have no idea. Matt, sorry to hear that your coolant fell out. It happens. It's a rare occurrence when we have coolant failure, but I really hope that you reached out to our support when the coolant failed, and they would have helped you with the issue that you have, and you would probably also get a new bottle of coolant free of charge. Tube diameter that I suggest for the build. This is also a nice topic. So tubing diameter has zero impact on performance, because each fitting in the end, so each fitting at its end has a G1/4 thread, and the G1/4 thread is, I think, 9 to 10 millimeters wide or something like that, which means that even if you have a tube which is thick like this, at the end it will narrow down to the fitting. And this is the reason why even if you have wide tubes, at the end of the fitting you will have the same flow through the tube. So the choice of tubing is only purely visual, so you should choose whatever you like. I personally worked with 16mm hard tubes the most, because I like the way the tube wall actually acts. Because with the 16mm tubes you have 2mm of wall from each side, right? No, 3. And also if you have thinner hard tubes like this is a 12mm hard tube, meaning that the tube wall is 1mm from each side. So also bending the 16mm is easier if you ask me. You have more room for error. It is harder to like overheat the tubes, and 16mm is my choice. The only reason I went for 12 in this build actually is because of this thing here. So I wanted to do 16mm, right? But when I realized that I mixed up the in and out ports on the block, actually on the distro, I went for the 12mm so that I can use the 14mm offsets and just go above this tube, because if I had 14mm or 16mm tubes, these tubes would collide, and then it would just look ugly and bad. So that's why I went for 12 in this build. Are the coolants you sell on the website the same performance wise? Yes. The coolants offer the exact same performance, is the same mixture. The like amount of particles inside the coolant have negligible effect on the performance. Actually, these coolants have slightly worse performance if you would use distilled water, because all of the additives which are inside it are slightly lowering thermal transfer. But if you're using distilled water, you can have all sorts of trouble with your build, like algae growing in it, corrosion of the metal parts, stripping of nickel, and the performance difference would be negligible. I think half a degree or something like that would be a estimated difference between using purpose-built coolant and distilled water. And this is why we highly recommend that if you are spending so much moolah on your build, that you just add 16 more bucks for a purpose-built coolant, so that you can not worry about failures. If you have fear about coolant falling out, you can buy clear coolants which don't have the suspended particles in them. But like I said, issues with like coolant falling out are quite rare, and even if it happens, you should always reach out to our support and ask for help. Are you working on a distribution plate for the new Linear Lee case? I don't know which case you are talking about, but and we'll leave it at that. What do you think about the Helios white black case? I like the white one. I personally think that black is kind of becoming boring a bit, so that's why I like white stuff, and that's why I can't wait for us to have the white radiators, and also at one point white fittings as well. Yes, we have one more question about the active backplate, and it's very good that we have this active backplate right here, so that we can once more demonstrate that the active backplate works perfectly with this motherboard. There's plenty of space below the ultra block to fit the active backplates, and as you can see, even the RAM is much higher than the block itself, so that means it won't have any issues. EK coolant actually magic water? Yes, it is. This is unicorn sweat. Huge question: when is EK going to have a major distribution hub in the United States? We have reseller partners. We have Performance PCs and we have Titan Rig. Both have very good shipping rates, or Performance PCs even provides, I think, free shipping. If you buy $100 bucks of EK stuff, then you get free shipping. So I guess these guys are very good, so you should just look them up, and yeah, order the Glacial. Okay. Which distro plate would you recommend for the Corsair? I have no idea what is this 7000X. I could just Google it. 7000X, but I guess that either the Fractal distro plate or the Fantex distro plate would work nice with it. I see that Gamers Nexus did a review on the case. Let's see the case. I think that the Fractal one would work better. but I would have to check. Like I said, if you have doubts about compatibility or anything similar, just reach out to our support and then ask them, like, can you please check, what's your opinion, what's your recommendation, and they need to help. Thank you, H2O Computers. How did I feel when I first held the board? Well, the first contact actually was with the box itself. So when we first got the box, we actually had a bet how heavy it is, and we have guessed like it's around 7 kilos, 9. I think I was the closest with 9.5 or something like that, and I think it's like, yeah, I think the whole box. I'm not gonna get my phone, but if I remember well, it's 8.5 kilos. Maybe if Justin's here in the chat, I know that he's a huge fan. I have sent him the photo of this box on a scale, and I think it was 8.5 kilos. And also, when I first saw the Glacial Z690 block inside R&D, I was really impressed with the size of the copper which is used for the top part of the block. So it's a, how can I explain it? I think the copper is like something like that. It's a bit smaller, but it's a really huge chunk of copper being used for the ultra block base. Also, I've seen people complaining about the price and like saying like you can't justify the price with copper. Well, actually, sourcing this size copper, which is high quality, is a very difficult task. So it's not that you can get any copper from the market and then just start CNC machining. So a lot of effort goes into just finding the right source of copper, the right size of billet, so the piece of copper, and then you can start manufacturing, and then the other things come in line. Let's see. Do you have a reservoir? What? Do you have a reservoir if you're using the quantum inertia plexi? How will I fill the system with a reservoir? Yes, we have reservoirs. Unfortunately, we still don't have a quantum style tubular reservoir available yet. We have the flat style reservoirs, which we call FLTs. I think that someone will help you with the link in the chat right now to find these FLT reservoirs. We have it in 120, 240 and 360 sizes. How many of us on the chat? Also, let me know how do you like this live stream? Should we do it more often? We can do it more often. Just let us know if you like it, and then we will do it more often. No problem. I think that we'll have a live stream in a few weeks as well, so keep your eyes out on our social media announcements, because we will have a few builds coming up soon. Glass tubing. Glass tubing is something which I really like, because the only next thing after acrylic is glass. You basically can't scratch it, and it has a very nice clarity to it. will EK ever offer glass tubes? I'm quite sure that at one point we will carry it in our shop. But I think that first we have to get the metal tubes rolling, and then we can start looking out for new stuff like glass tubes, maybe even carbon fiber. Welcome, always happy to answer. When will this board be available? This board is already available. You can find it and order it. The stock is a question at this moment, but our friends from ASUS are really on it and answering your questions regarding stock. Yep. End of the month. I haven't overclocked this build. I haven't even overclocked the new CPU yet. I just seen reviews of it, and apparently reviewers say that the new CPU is very competitive against AMD, which is also nice to hear on the market that that boundaries are being pushed. So no, I haven't done any overclocking yet, but I guess that the liquid cooling will help. And the only thing that I know about these CPUs, the only thing that I know about these new CPUs is that the power limits are unlocked, if I'm saying it right, which means that you can overclock it without so much constraints as before. So it's like opened. Will PC gaming die in the future? I don't think that PC gaming will die in the future. I think that PC gaming is just growing, I guess. Why are EK products nickel plated? It's just that people prefer nickel plated products. So in the past, EK has offered bare copper blocks. We still offer them for the reference GPUs, and we offer it for our most selling CPU blocks as well. And I guess the reason why people stopped buying copper is because copper has a specific color to it, which means that it's quite hard to match it with the rest of the build. So let me just oh yeah, so we have a bare copper cold plate here, and now imagine how would you make this work with this build. It would be extremely hard to make it look nice, and you would be locked into just to a few teams with this, and RGB would look a bit funky as well. And really, we just follow the market. We just follow the demand, and the large portion of our customers just prefer nickel plated acrylic top blocks, and that's why we do them. So we still offer some bare copper blocks as well. It's for the reference block. We will always have at least available some, so that we also offer something for the old school liquid cooling. And to just show the front panel of the case, please. Will do. Make some room. So, will you be offering magnitude block for the LGA 1700? Yes. So currently, it turns out that the only LGA 1700 socket specific block on the market is the EK Velocity 2. We haven't seen anyone else releasing CPU blocks for this new socket yet, which is nice for us. But for the magnitude, we will require a bit more time because we want to make sure that this CPU block is the best CPU block on the market. So that's why we are taking our time with designing the magnitude for the LGA 1700. I guess it will be available in the first quarter of 2022. How long does it take for your team to design an active backplate? Because EK was actually the first to make active backplates. The solutions that were available before were only a heat pipe connected with the terminal, and then the heat pipe cooled the backplate, but the only real active backplate which was integrated came from EK. I know someone made a small water block which you could attach to the backside of the block. I forgot his name, but he's a cool modding guy and I fully support him. But designing active backplates wasn't an easy challenge because there's a lot of things going on with the thermal pads, thickness of the thermal pads, tolerances, finding the right pads which are squishy enough. So actually designing the active backplate isn't the most time consuming part. It's the making it work testing part which would take up a lot of time. So for the first one we required a few months, but with like every next block we have gotten faster and faster. Thanks a lot. Welcome. Is it possible to have custom blocks done? Everything's possible. Everything's possible, but currently we don't do custom jobs. I believe that if you have enough funds, even EK will do it. Or I believe you can probably find some of the elite modders on the scene which would maybe design a block for you. I know probably the first name that comes to my mind is Alex Banks would be a really good choice. So try finding him, reaching out to him, and ask him if he would design a custom block for you. RAM blocks. RAM blocks is something that we have drawn. We have 3D models, but we don't plan making them yet. The main reason for this is the transition from DDR4 to DDR5 and currently the scarcity of DDR5. So until DDR5 gets mainstream, if I would say, I don't think that we will be making blocks for RAM. Love the velocity vector to CPU blocks. Actually, we just took some photos of the velocity 2 today. It looks really good, and the funny thing that the backplate actually looks very awesome as well. It's a shame that we don't have any photos here, but if Joe's here in the chat, I have sent him some images today. Maybe Joe can share it. He said that he will come and interrupt my show. EK case is coming in the future. Yes. I think that we will release a case at CES. This case is a mysterious case. We have teased it a bit, shown it a bit, but you didn't even know that this was this was an EK case, but we will launch it at CES. So stick around and you will find out more about the case. Cool. Any more interesting questions? Yes, we have made a case with Inwin. It was the Inwin 909 EK. Funny thing that the case was sold for 1500 or something like that, and you can find some of these cases on eBay reaching $3,000-4,000. This was a limited run of 200 cases, so guess people liked it. The big EK logo. Yeah, we can pitch that idea to management. Maybe we can make a big EK logo like this. This is not plastic. This is a CNC machined EK logo, so it's the real deal. If you like it, maybe we can make it and just sell it to our fans. Yeah, active backplates make a huge difference in VRAM temperatures. These are huge differences, like 30 degrees or even more difference under load. Which case will this motherboard? Which case will fit this motherboard? So this is a extended ATX size. I think it's only just like a 30 millimeters, 35 millimeters longer than a standard ATX board. If you go to the web page of the case manufacturer, and if it states eATX compatibility, that means that this board will fit in it. Yep. Question about the build. What would you have done differently in this build? If you have ideas, let me know. If you don't have ideas, maybe we'll just be slowly wrapping up our live stream. We will hang around for some more questions. You can still use an active backplate on the 3080, but you won't get the performance benefits as you're getting on the 3090, because simply there are no VRAM chips on the backside of the block. Custom distro for Odyssey X? Probably not. Two smaller RADs maybe. Yeah, my initial idea was to use two radiators, one slim at the top, but that would complicate my life with the tubes, and it would kill the whole idea of having parallel tubes going down from the distro. I think it would be awesome to build in this case if we had our cross-flow radiators available. Cross-flow radiators make your tube routing much more easier, because you would have one port at this end and the other port at the other end, which means that I would just come down at the other end and it would look much cleaner. The cross-flow radiators should also be available in a month or two, so stick around and watch out for our new radiators, which were first showcased at Expo Computex in the summer, but they should come available soon. Does the water cooling EVGA card have any? No. So active backplates are available only for our blocks, but the EVGA liquid cooled GPU is a for the win underneath it. So if you go to our web page, go to the configurator and type in the model of your block into the configurator, and it will list a list of compatible blocks. And even the liquid cooled GPUs on the market fit EK blocks. So eventually, if you already have a liquid cooled GPU which is pre-blocked, and if you really want an active backplate, then you can just buy the EK GPU block and the backplate, and then have actively cool your backside of the graphics card as well. I would have left off the PC cover towards the end. Yeah, three fans. Yeah, that's one option as well. Like I said, this was the first time that I worked with this case, and that's why I have left the cover on and I left it at stock. Someone also suggested that I could chop this part here and then fit one more fan. I didn't have glossy white paint at hand because I would hate leaving it bare. But I would live, okay. Okay, vertical mount GPU. The reason why I didn't go for the vertical block is because this build was all about the motherboard, and if I would use the vertical mount, then the GPU block would just cover half of the board off, and that's why good game as well. I think our viewer then wants to say that it's slowly time for us to close this live stream, and he said GG. Yes, we are doing a gold line of torque fittings. I think that the fittings will be available in a month or so. It's going to be slightly more expensive because our gold fittings actually have real gold plated onto them. So the fittings are first nickel plated, and then they are plated with gold. Yeah, we will wrap it up soon. We would like to thank ASUS for joining in on the live stream. Always a pleasure working with them. I think that we will soon be joining the ASUS live stream as well. They have regular live streams. What can I say? This was fun. This was my first solo live stream, I think. I didn't have any of these before yet. It was a nice experience just to be able to chat with you and hear your questions and pains and ideas. That's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Like I said, fittings came in the box. Yes, 6 fittings are in the box. 14mm hard tubing nickel fittings are in the box. Like I said, I will probably be changing the cables, lifting the radiator, and taking this build to a bit of a next level, fixing the cables in the back. Promise I will do it. And thanks Andre, thanks Dario from Croatia, thanks Jared. What can I say? We will see each other more in the future. We will have more live streams and we will hang out more, and I hope that we will get giveaways and coupons as well in the next one. Sadly, none of those in this one. Once again, thank you all for joining in, and see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.